All right, let's get into a really powerful story today. It's all about how a family isn't always something you're born into, but something you build. And believe it or not, this whole thing kicks off with a simple, pretty startling sentence at a snowy bus stop.
Wow. Just 7 words, but spoken with the kind of pure, unshakable conviction that only a 4-year-old can have. This is what sets an incredible story of connection, doubt, and ultimately healing into motion. That little girl's name is Laya, and she's saying this to a complete and total stranger.
So let's really picture the scene here. We're at a bus stop, snow's coming down, and 3 very different lives are about to collide. You've got Laya, her very cautious father Elliot, and a homeless woman named Isabel, who's just trying to find a little warmth. And you can see the difference in perspective right here, and it is just night and day. On one side you have Leia. She sees a person who needs help, and maybe, just maybe, a future mom. She doesn't hesitate, she just offers her a cookie. But then there's her dad, Elliot. He sees the exact opposite. All his alarm bells are going off. He sees a stranger, a potential danger, and his only job is to protect his little girl. So naturally, Elliot tries to shut the whole thing down. He's trying to pull Leia away, get back to their safe, normal life. But just as he turns to leave, everything changes. Isabel, who is obviously very sick, just collapses right there in the snow. And suddenly, Elliot's forced to make a choice that goes against every single one of his protective instincts.
All right, so Elliot makes the tough call. He helps her. And this is where the next phase of the story begins. Isabel is now recovering inside their home, which, as you can imagine, creates this brand new, really complicated situation. It's this delicate balance of potential connection and deep-seated suspicion.
And this moment, this just says it all. When Isabel wakes up on their couch, the first thing she sees isn't a suspicious look from Elliot. It's this, a drawing from Laya. 3 people holding hands, and underneath it says, "My home." In Laya's mind, it's already done. The decision has been made. Isabel is part of the family.
But for Elliot, it's nowhere near that simple. He lays down the law right away. This is temporary. But then, little things start to chip away at that wall he's built. He notices a jagged scar on her wrist, a clue to a past full of pain. A doctor he calls confirms she's sick and completely alone. And then, and this is the real kicker, she makes soup. And it tastes exactly like the soup his late wife used to make. It just brings up a flood of memories he thought were long gone.
After a particularly rough night for Isabel, Elliot leaves her a cup of tea, and tucked underneath it is this note. Just 3 little words. It seems so small, right? But for Isabel, who has spent years feeling like a ghost, being ignored by everyone, this is huge. It's the first time in forever that someone has actually seen her as a person.
So now Elliot is basically at war with himself. His heart sees this undeniable warmth she's brought into their home. He sees the incredible bond she has with Laya, and he even sees a bit of his own pain in her. But his mind, the logical, cautious part of him, is screaming that she's a mystery, an unknown variable that needs to be figured out. And that voice is what pushes him to open his laptop and start searching.
And you know, that kind of internal conflict, it doesn't stay internal for long. Elliot's need for answers, that nagging doubt, it all boils over and leads to a huge turning point in the story, and a really painful separation.
And this is what he finds. An old article from her time as a fashion student accusing her of plagiarism, of stealing someone else's designs. And for that cautious part of his brain, this is all the proof it needs. It's the "I knew it" moment that casts a huge dark shadow over the tiny bit of trust they'd started to build.
So he confronts her, he shows her the article, and Isabel, she doesn't deny the article exists, but she tells him her side of the story. And then she flips the entire thing on him. She puts the future of all of this right in his hands with this one question. It's not about what a reporter wrote years ago, it's about right now. Does he believe her?
And Elliot, he hesitates, just for a second. He opens his mouth to speak, but nothing comes out. And that tiny pause, that flicker of doubt in his eyes, it's louder than any word he could have said. For Isabel, that hesitation is a betrayal. It's the only answer she needs.
The aftermath is just devastating. Laya, with her pure heart, gives Isabel her favorite stuffed bear so she won't have to be alone. Elliot just stands there frozen, watching this woman walk out of their lives. And later that night, Laya delivers the most heartbreaking line of all. She just whispers, "She was our family."
So, some time goes by, and Elliot actually manages to find Isabel and convince her to come back. But even with the old issues supposedly behind them, a new problem comes up.
After they share a moment of real closeness, Isabel pulls back and asks him this. The fear isn't about her past anymore. Now it's about her place in his present. She's terrified that he'll never see her for who she is, that she'll always just be a replacement for the wife he lost.
So she leaves again. But this time is different. She leaves a letter for Laya, and it completely changes the meaning of her leaving. She explains that she isn't running away from them. She's running towards the person she needs to be for them. She needs to heal and become someone strong enough, whole enough, to be the mother Laya deserves. It's not abandonment. It's a promise to come back better.
And that promise kicks off the final chapter of this story. It's a journey that all three of them have to take, on their own at first, a journey of healing, of forgiveness, and of finally coming back together to redefine what home really means. A few days later, Elliot finds that letter, which gives him some hope. Months fly by. During this time, Isabel is working hard, pouring everything she has into her career and slowly rebuilding her confidence. And their paths are finally set to cross again at a big charity fashion gala, where she's about to present her first ever collection.
At the gala, right before Isabel's show, there's a surprise speaker. It's Laya. She gets up on that huge stage and reads a poem she wrote. It's this simple, beautiful, public plea for Isabel to come back to them. And it ends with this line. You could have heard a pin drop in that room. It's just so powerful.
After the reading, Elliot finds her backstage. And what happens next? Well, it just shows how deep their bond really was, right from the very beginning. He shows her that he framed the handkerchief she used on Laya's hand that first night, the moment he says that he first saw her as family. And in return, she pulls out of her wallet the crumpled, tea-stained note he left for her the moment she first felt seen. They both held on to these little pieces of their beginning.
And with all the fear, all the doubt, all the ghosts of the past finally out of the way, Isabel whispers the words that everyone has been waiting to hear. Laya comes running from the stage right into her arms. And right there, in front of everyone, the three of them are finally together. They're a family.
And that's what they become. One. A single, solid family unit. The story ends with a scene of them in their kitchen, just moving together in this easy, comfortable way. Elliot's even built a design studio for Isabel right there in their house, literally building a foundation for their shared future. They are one.
And in that final scene, Isabel shows them a handkerchief she's been working on. She's added a new line of embroidery to it, and it's this. It's the perfect summary, the thesis statement for their entire journey, stitched right into the fabric.
Which really leaves us all with this final thought to chew on. This story makes a beautiful case that the families we choose, or the ones that choose us, the ones that find us when we're lost and refuse to let go, are every bit as real and as powerful as the ones we're born into. So it makes you ask yourself, right? Is family built by blood or by the hands that hold you?